So these are going to be the basic materials you're going to need, or well, I'm using, to build this American War of Independence era church or chapel. It could also work for the American Civil War as well. The buildings are so young in the States that they really haven't got anything old, so something like this could have been built in the 1700s and still been around in, well, just before the 1900s, if not up until today. So as usual, it's basically materials: cardboard for the four main walls of the main structure. It doesn't have to be cardboard, it could be thick card, it could be foam board if you want to splash out a bit, like the foam board I've got underneath, which I'm going to be using to make the base. Lots of coffee stirrers, some matchsticks, either the big ones or the small ones. Big ones preferably better because they're a bit thicker. And some cocktail sticks. The cocktail sticks I'm going to use for making the windows, and the matchsticks again would probably be used for the bits around the windows, the window frame. The window frame I'll be using those for. So that's basically it. I've also got a beer mat there because you might want to use that for other parts of it. Well, I'll see what I use it for. I'm very much starting here from scratch and winging it. I have built buildings before, so it's not as if I've not done a prototype for this, but I want to put on a bell tower, an entryway at the front of the building, and something at the back as well, just to make it an interesting shape. Okay, so let's get on with it. Now, the measurements don't have to be exact. Well, they do have to be exact if you wanted to match up. So what I've done for this one, to get it the right sort of size for 28mm, I could have gone 172 scale, I could have gone a bit bigger. But the length of the building is 14cm and the height is 10. For the ends, again, it's 10cm along the bottom, 10cm up the sides, and then for the apex, you divide the 10cm into two, 5 each way, so you've got your centre point for doing the point, and the length of the point is 4.5cm, which means that you have a 6.5cm length for the other part of the triangle there. Is that an equilateral triangle? It's easy for me to see. I know that's 90 degrees. let's not get into the maths, but you know what a roof looks like. You could make it pointier by going above the 4.5cm. It's down to your taste what you want to do, as long as it's got a decent slope there, which this one has. So that's the basic measurements I'm doing for this particular model, which is an example of what you can do. So this is going to be the front of the building. What I've done is I've drawn on the front portico and two windows to cut out. So either side of the centre it's 1.5, then 2, then 1.5. Same on the other side. Then for the portico, height is 4. Then you go another 2cm up and draw it to the apex, because that is 6cm. So again, you get a nice slope on the front, and that's going to be the guide for making the front portico. And I wanted to get that done so I could see where the windows are going to go. You may think these windows are a bit tall, but they're only 2x4. You could make them 2x3 if you like, but that's entirely up to you. In this case, I'm going to do them 2x4, so there's a nice big pane of glass there, because there's going to be a lot of struts across the glass. It's not as if they're putting in stained glass in here, which would be too expensive. It would be lots of little panes of glass, which meant that wherever you were in the early colony, you'd be able to get enough glass to fill these in. Okay, that's just my roundabout reasoning for doing them that size. So for the rear of the building, I've put 3 windows in here. This measurement is 6.5cm, then 2.5 centimetres for the height of the window, then the final 1 centimetre. 1 centimetre gap there, 2 centimetres for the width of the window, and the 1 centimetre next window, 2 again, 1 centimetre, 2 again. So I'm going to cut these out now, and I've left enough space down here for putting something on the rear of the building as well. So I've now cut out the windows. I just used a scalpel. Any craft knife would do, but I think we're all obliged these days to give a health and safety warning on this. Make sure you don't cut your fingers, be very careful. Preferably use a metal ruler to cut along the lines there, so you don't slip and cut on a hard surface that nobody minds you damaging. I'm in my man cave and nobody gives a monkeys about what I cut or do up here, apart from me, so I'm in a good place, put it that way. So I've cut out 5 2 centimetre long pieces of coffee stirrer, and those are going to form the sills of the windows. So I'm just about to stick those down. So for the window frames, I cut matchsticks, the long Cook's matches, and you really have to do these one by one. So you measure it one by one. So I did the uprights first, and what I did, because this is a cardboard building that I'm inserting these into, I've made them just slightly longer than they need to be, so I get a really snug fit up against the walls, because it does look a bit naff if there's gaps. I mean, you can fill in the gaps with the PVA glue, but you know, make sure that it's a really tight fit by just making it just a little bit longer than you need to, and then that just squeezes everything together and makes a really snug join. So bear that in mind. I've now got to do the cross pieces, and on these ones there's going to be 2 cross pieces, and on these ones there'll be 1. So there'll be 4 panes in here and 6 in here. So I've done the windows. So cocktail sticks down the middle and matchsticks across the middle, and I've also glued a thick matchstick across the top of the or the bottom of what will be the bit supporting the roof, and also on the sides here, so I can do the shiplap cladding. And this is me starting to do the cladding up the sides, and once I get to the apex of the porch, then it will start getting wider there as well. And I've got all the fiddly bits to do around the windows as well. And I've started on going up the side of the roof. Such fun. So, glutton for punishment that I am, I've put 3 windows on each side. It's 14 centimetres across, so I've divided that into 2 centimetre sections, and that means I've got 3 windows. So that's 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2 all the way across there. And across the bottom I've put another long matchstick, and across the top of the windows another long matchstick to do the shiplap cladding. I cannot emphasise how useful it is to have some bulldog clips to hold things down while they're drying. If you haven't got any, get some. If you want to make things like this, they're so useful, so essential. They really do hold things down while PVA glue is drying. So I've got loads of them, absolutely loads, really useful. So I've added a front porch on the front, and that's 4 centimetres by 4 centimetres, well, 4 centimetres height, and a nice little peaked roof on there, and getting on with the cladding, which is slow but very therapeutic. And I've also made some windows from a plastic food container and just stuck them down with PVA glue, so they're just drying there to keep them in place. So to strengthen the structure of the front porch entranceway, I've added some matchstick struts there, which I've cut to the right size, just to add some strength, because this is going to get a bit warped when I start doing the cladding up the sides, which I haven't started yet, so I'm just waiting for that to dry. But I'm cladding around the walls, so starting to get quite close on this one. So I've swiftly finished off the ends of the two outhouses and added some thick matchsticks to just cover up the gaps between the coffee stirrers and the cardboard I've put on for the fronts there. I'm going to run some coffee stirrers like cladding down the front here, so it wouldn't be. I could do shiplap. Do I do that? Maybe I could do it that way. It would sort of blend in with the effect, wouldn't it? So I think I may well do that. But first of all, I've got to make some doors. This one is the entrance, so we'll probably have a door. As for the other, I suppose you would have an exit, wouldn't you? So yeah, okay, I'm going to do 2 doors. So make 2 doors, stick them on the end, and then shiplap it round them. While I'm waiting for these coffee stirrers to stick, and there's quite a lot of areas to do, so they're drying all the time. I've cut out the roofs for the front and the back, and for the roof. So it's an opportunity to start sticking some tiles on. The tiles are about half a centimetre by a centimetre high, roughly. They don't have to be exact. It looks far better if you just roughly cut them, just trim them away using your hand and eye to get them look a bit rustic. So that's what I'm doing as well now while I'm waiting for the stuff to dry. So it is extremely long-winded, but still very therapeutic. So I'm very close to finishing the cladding on the front and the back. I've just stuck a matchstick down the bottom there, and the same on the other one, because I've made some doors, and the doors are the width of 4 coffee stirrers wide, and those are 4 centimetres tall by 2 centimetres, basically. So if it went smack in the middle of a 6 centimetre end, and they're looking pretty good so far. So getting on with the tedium of all of this, but as I say, it's very therapeutic. Look at all the roof tiles I've been cutting to put on the roofs. That is going to be a labour of intense laboriousness. And that's how far I've got on one side. I've done 4 rows on the other side as well. It's going to take a little while, this one, but you know, it is what it is. So I finished the cladding of the fronts of the building. I put a nice little lintel over the door there, and they're a little bit lopsided, but you know, what the hell, it's meant to be like that, so why not? I've put the windows in as well. The windows, I just cut up a old food container, you know, the ones you get with your chicken and your beef or pork or whatever in, and just got the flattest bits off there and just stuck them down with PVA glue, and they're sort of quite nicely frosted as well, so it's got the sort of look of old frosted glass on it. So that's how I've done those. Now this is quite important to get the corners straight. What I've done is I've placed down the ends on here to get them to line up, and then drawn a rectangle in the middle after measuring it all and fitting them together without gluing them, so that I get them lined up correctly, because it's very easy to get them a bit wonky unless you line them up. So there's a quick tip for you. Make sure you measure it out, fit it together, and then make marks where the bits fit. So there you go. They're fitting together really nicely there because I've measured it really well. So it's a matter of starting to glue them down now and gluing them together. So I've crafted a little bell tower here using the foam board and just cladding it. I was tempted to do it as the shiplap routine or technique, but it just looked far too complicated to do that. So I just stuck it onto the roof and just made it, filled in any gaps that I had there with matchsticks, and it looks alright. It'll be fine when it's painted. So all I've got left to do now is do a little roof and do some more tiling on that. So I've left a little bit ahead there because I wanted to get cracking on this. So I've painted the tiles, did a dark grey, then a lighter grey, then another highlight of even lighter grey to get a sort of streaky effect on there, and stuck a few little bits of flock as a bit of moss. The woodwork, again I did a mix of blue and white, then put more white in it, and then put more white in again with a little bit of grey just to give it a bit of aging effect. I think what I might do is dribble a bit of wash at certain points near the roof, just dribble it down, make it look a bit more sort of weather worn. But yeah, nice effect of the light shine through the windows there. I hadn't noticed that before, but that looks quite good, doesn't it? So yes, what to do next is those little things that I've just mentioned, and the basing, and then we shall get on with that. Just see this light effect again. Do you like that? So there you have it, finally completed, based, flocked, everything's done. So that's one of the side views. I'll just do a few little bell tower at the top there. I'll just do some from the front and back. So we have the front with the large main windows. Very nice, I think. And from the rear with the 3 little windows there. I think it's come out really nice. You can do this in 2 ways. I did it by doing all the woodwork with the parts separate, but it might be easier because of course these things warp, so I had to clamp the sides, and I'm just to straighten them out again because they were warping, they were bending. So it might be an idea to prevent that by actually making the structure first and then putting the wood on. Makes it a bit more difficult putting the wood on, but you don't get that issue with warping. So just a little tip there. If in hindsight I might have done that way with this one, but I've got some good clamps and bulldog clips, so that's fine. There you go.